episode of Musical Chairs with me, Cheer Up Charlie. And today we have the amazing, the wonderful Mamma Mia. Here she goes again. My, just how much we've missed her. And no one mourns the wicked, because she's very wicked. She's Kim Ismay, everybody! Whoop, 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 whoop. Kim, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Are you well?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you.
Good. Glad to hear it.
So, if you're ready, I'll get right into the questions.
Get into those questions. I've got my fan here because it's really hot.
So, growing up, did you know you would follow the performing arts route, or was there another route that you wanted to follow?
Absolutely, 100%. I always knew this is what I would do.
Yeah.
I tried to lie to my headmistress. I went to a very academic school, and my headmistress thought if you didn't do lots of academic things and go to Oxford or Cambridge, then you were the lowest of the low. She was very strange. So I tried to pretend that I wanted to be something a little more serious. I said I wanted to be a speech therapist or a newsreader. So I thought that was quite serious. But actually, I was just lying, and all I wanted to do was act. And I did dancing classes as well, on Saturday and during the week. That's just 3 or 4 times a week. And I danced a lot and I acted a lot. And I didn't really sing until I went to college when I was older. But fell into musical theatre. I was always going to be a very serious Shakespearean actress, and then musicals found me, and I was very pleased they did.
Yeah, musicals are great. So you went on to train at the University of Kent. Do you think the arts should be accessible for all, regardless of their backgrounds? As I'm already discovering how much my parents sacrificed for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think that's why a lot of people go to extra curricular dancing and drama and singing and things that, on the weekends and stuff. Yeah. Because a lot of schools don't offer it, and if they do offer it, it's not really, it's just to tick academic boxes, really. Yeah. I mean, it is getting better now. I do think it should be. I mean, the reason I went to university and not to drama school is because I'm very old, you see, Charlie. When I was at school, certain areas, and I live in Surrey, and my local county council wouldn't award grants to train unless it was a degree course. Now, of course, all the drama courses are degree courses, so that's fine. But at the time, drama wasn't a degree. It was a vocational training. And so subsequently, we couldn't get a grant, and we didn't have any money because my dad died when I was very young. And so my mum was an early widow and really struggled. And you talk about your mum and dad giving lots of things up, and my mum was incredible with how, I don't know how she managed. I look back now, I don't know how she managed. So the only way for me to be able to train, I did go to drama school auditions, and I got into a very prestigious one, and then I had to turn my place down because I didn't get any kind of bursary or grant. So the only way to do it for me was to go to university and do a drama course, but it was quite a practical course as well. So I got a really broad spectrum training. Yeah. Some of it was brilliant. Some of it was no use at all, but that's okay. Everything teaches you something somewhere along the line. Yeah. And then I had to get my equity card after that. So. And then I had to get my equity card, because in those days you had to have an equity card before you could work. So I had to go and get an equity contract and dance abroad and come back. I was a showgirl with lots of sparkles.
So I already know that you only get what you put into this world, and already feel like I work incredibly hard. What was it like the day you finally got your big break?
Oh, big break. Big break's a funny word, I think. I remember the day, because when you first get your first contract, I was talking about your equity card, you get your used to get a little blue wallet, little red wallet, and the red wallet was your provisional card, but then you had to add weeks onto it. It was like one of those cards that you put points on and you get at the end of free coffee, and you to build your weeks up, and you could then apply to be a full member. And if you were a full member, you could work in the West End, and you had to take your card with you to show at the door of the audition.
Yeah.
Or the in. To remember it every time and not lose it. And I remember my mum came with me, and Equity used to be in Harley Street. 8 Harley Street, and we went in and we applied in the morning for the full card, and we went away and had lunch. We were really, really nervous, and we went back in the afternoon, and they said, yes, you are now a full member of Equity, here is your blue full card. And I remember my mum crying, and I remember me crying, and that for me was like, that was my first break, my first, like, the moment where I thought, I did it, I got that, now I can start the hard work. And build up your CV, and you do all the jobs, and you audition, and you don't get the job. And then for me, I think Mamma Mia was the biggest, I think it was my biggest theatre break. That's a long time, but 20, I don't know, over 20 years ago. So, no, not 20, 20 years ago, coming up to 20 years. And I remember thinking, I am now very happy. My first West End was exciting too. I did a show called Torch Song Trilogy, and I was a walking understudy. I was a standby, so I just sat in the dressing room for a year, waiting for someone to be ill. It's not very healthy, but it was, the people I worked with were so amazing and so stellar, and so I'd admired them for so long. And the first time I went on for, I understudied 2 roles, and I went on for both. And my first West End ever was a 4-hander, an act of a 4-hander, and the other 3 actors were so out of my league, people I'd admired for years, that I almost wasn't able to go. I was almost overwhelmed. So
Awesome. So one of my mum's favourite films to watch is Mamma Mia, so I know all the songs. Not only did you do it, did you start on the West End, you played the iconic and hilarious character that is Tanya. How much fun did you have during your time on the show?
Oh, I'd say if you could scale fun 1 to 10, it was about 736,000. I every now and again, a role comes along in the theatre that is just suits you in every which way possible.
Yeah.
And Tanya was mine.
Yeah.
And I loved every minute. I did 3 years at the Prince Edward, and then the move, that included the move from the Prince Edward to the Prince of Wales. Then I left, and I did lots of other jobs, and I was away for 6 years, and then they asked me to go back. And I did 4 years the second time. And I did the move from the Prince of Wales to where it is now at the Novello. So if I move again, I'll have to be in it, or it won't be a legal move, I've said. And I also did 2 months after the first contract. I did 2 months on the international tour, which was in Edinburgh, so not very international, but my sister lives in Scotland, so it was good.
Yes, because I remember watching you at at the Novello Theatre. Hashtag Cheer Up Charlie even kicked off. We went into London with some friends from Australia, and we watched Mamma Mia.
You must have been quite wee then, because I left.
I was 6, I think.
Oh, bless me.
6 or 7.
It was such fun, and even if you were in a bit of a mood, because you can't completely forget how you feel. I mean, you know what it's like when you've got things on your mind. Sometimes they come nipping back. But even if you went into work feeling a bit rubbish or a bit sad, that finale after the wedding scene, when you get to wear the orange lycra, and you've got a Swarovski crystal-studded microphone, and you get to sing those songs, and the band's going crazy, and the audience is on their feet, you can't not have that rush of how wonderful life is.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I also watched you perform as Madame Morrible, alongside Nikki Bentley, who I speak with weekly now. How special was it to play that role?
Morrible, I love her, and hopefully we're going back shortly too, so that's a good thing. Yeah, she's the only truly wicked person in it.
Her and the wizard.
Well, yes, but you see, I think the wizard's not a good person, but he's easily led. I think if he was surrounded by very good people, then he would be a better person.
Yeah.
And he has a bit of a conscience.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Morrible doesn't.
No, 100% not. She drops a house.
Morrible, horrible.
Horrible. Absolutely. And I think that she's a psychopath, and people think that psychopaths go around killing people, which of course Morrible does, just as a byline, just because she feels like it. But psychopaths actually just don't care about how other people feel, as long as they can just do what they want. They have no conscience, and she has no conscience. She just thinks, oh, I know what I'll do. I need to do that. Okay, what's in my way? Her. Oh, well, I'll kill her, and then I can do what I want. She's just completely without any kind of remorse or conscience. She's brilliant to play. Lovely costume.
I can imagine. Oh yeah, the costumes are amazing. So I first met you when #CheerUpCharlie was born, which turned 2 years just this week. And I am also a 2021 recipient of a prestigious Diana Award, which shows me that I've only just started. And my generation needs a voice, and I'll continue to be it. And I'm now giving hope to the future generation that things will be different and the acceptance of everyone will happen. But so much of this is learned from the TV, adults around them, and even school. How do we change this?
It's so difficult for your generation because everything is lived in the public domain. Because when I was your age, we didn't have any social media. Mm-hmm. We only had a couple of TV channels. If you wanted to watch a movie, you had to go to the cinema. I mean, genuinely an old person. And there's always been pressure. There's always been peer pressure. So if you don't happen to fit in with the cool crowd, or you're, and I was always taller than everybody else, and lanky and stringy, and I was different. I didn't fit in at school particularly, and I tried way too hard to try and fit in. And like you, I was very badly bullied at school. And the difficulty for your generation is that everybody is trying to get an instant gratification and instant likes on things. You try and live this perfect life, and people face tune themselves and they pretend they're having a marvelous time when they're not.
Yeah.
And they're so used to being unpleasant to people because that's what's shown to them on the TV, people being unpleasant to people, and there being no consequence.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do something online and say something online and not think of how it genuinely affects people.
Yeah.
It's an anonymous way of behaving. And I think we have to try and stem that fake flow. It's hard. It's very hard. I have a theory that we should teach, it sounds very complicated, but it's not. We should teach basic philosophy in school because it encourages people to think for themselves and not just do as they're told. Doing as you're told is fine if there's a reason. If rules are there for a reason to make things easier for people, but philosophy, I think, basic philosophy, not complicated stuff, but it gives you a scenario and says, well, if this happens, then what's the knock-on effect? How does that affect this person? How does it affect this person? And I think that would be a really good thing to do, because I think that way people would be encouraged to just think before they say what they're going to say, or post what they're going to post, and before they disrespect something that they.
Yeah.
I think we can all be better people, can't we?
Definitely. So, have you ever suffered bullying either as a child or in the industry?
In the industry, not so much. Certainly at school, like I said to you, I was junior school, not so much. Senior school, so from 11 onwards, the first year was all right. Years after that, not so great. There was a small group of girls. I went to an all-girls school, and no matter how horrible boys can be, I'm here to tell you, girls on maths are awful. And I suffered very badly with bullying at school. And it's really funny. I've met a couple of them since I've been a grown-up, and you never feel different. You never feel any different to how you feel now. For you, me, you just know more stuff and deal with things a bit better. And I met one of them, just bumped into her at the shops years ago now, but I mean it was certainly years after we left school, and she came over to me and she said, "Oh, you're Kim Ismay, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." I knew who she was. And she said, "I'm really sorry for the way we treated you at school. It was really out of order, and I felt bad about it for a long time." And I said, "Thank you. I mean, that means an awful lot, and it's also quite brave to do that." Someone else I met, quite the opposite. I was talking to her. We met in a work situation. She wasn't a performer, she was tech, and she said to me, "Oh, I always knew you'd be a performer." I said, "Did you? Oh, it's not what you told me at school." And she said, "Oh yeah." She said, "Oh well, that was a long time ago." I said, "But how you hurt me doesn't go away." "Oh, you're making too much of it. It wasn't a big deal." And it was. Well, it was to me. It's how I felt. And I thought, she wasn't taking any kind of, and I wasn't being aggressive to her. I just said, you really hurt my feelings on a daily basis and made me very upset a lot of the time. And you know that, though. And she knew. Because if you say something to someone and they cry, then you kind of know you've upset, But anyway, it is what it is. The great thing about being a grown-up is that you can go, "Right, well, I don't want to talk to you anymore." And you can just walk away and never see them again, ever. Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the problem with being a kid. You have to see them every day, on and off, on and off, on and on and on and on and on.
I know, but you know what? It doesn't go on forever. It feels like it goes on forever.
Yeah, definitely.
When people bully other people, it tells you very little about the person who's being bullied.
Yeah.
It tells you everything about the person who's doing the bullying. Know that that's no help when you're in the middle of a situation, but you know who you are, and we all know who you are, and we all know who we are, and it's sad. So we just have to let those sad people be sad and hope they get happier so that they know what they've done.
Definitely. So if you could give yourself some advice as a child, knowing what you know now as an adult, what would it be? And be honest, Kim, would you actually listen to it?
No, probably not, no, because let's face it, when people give you advice, you think, yeah, whatever, I know best, but you don't. There's always someone that knows better than you. I would tell myself not to panic, for one thing, because everybody comes into their own at different times.
Yeah.
And some people step straight into themselves fully formed. Some people in the industry, I'm talking about the industry, some people straight away after they've done their training, step out, bam, they're superstars from the get-go. Some people take longer to grow into themselves.
Yeah.
And casting directors always told me that it wouldn't start happening for me until I was in my 30s. Now, that's not what you want to hear, my late 30s as well. That's not what you want to hear when you're 23.
No.
Because you think, I've got a long time of pottering about doing things that we don't really showcase what I know I can do. I would say, don't panic. It will all be all right.
Yeah.
I would also say, train your voice harder, your singing voice harder sooner. Trust your instincts sooner.
Yeah.
Try and please other people before you know that you've sorted yourself out in the industry.
Yeah.
And I would say, take care of your health, because it's hard work if you want to stay at the top of your game. I would say, no, I think that's about it. I would say, I would say choose a slightly different path earlier on. Don't turn down any opportunities because you overthink things.
So, is there anything that you get in trouble for? Mine's constantly talking and never being quiet. That's why I love, and also asking questions that have no answer, but I still ask them anyway. That's why I love doing these.
Well, I think everything has an answer, don't you?
Oh, some of the random questions I come up with. You just can't come up with an answer to them. The only answer, I don't know.
No idea. No idea. So what you want to know is there anything I get into trouble for?
Yes.
Probably talking like you. Being a bit too flippant, a bit too sarcastic. Sometimes it's a nervous mechanism, and you sort of treat something with a little bit of flippancy, and it's usually, oh God, I don't know what to do. But I get obviously serious when I need to be serious. What else do I get into trouble for? Panicking. I'm very and being untidy. Although that's changing.
Good.
That's what I'm doing in lockdown. I've been being tidy.
Awesome.
I know. Yeah. People that know me are very startled.
So now I know you have the voice of an angel and can be super funny or serious. So this cannot possibly count for you. But do you have any disgusting habits?
Disgusting, being untidy. Yes, being untidy, being really, really untidy. I mean, behind me is very nice and tidy at the moment. And this bit, which I'm not going to show you, just this bit over here is very tidy. I'm in my living room. Very. But there are places in my house which look as if the Tasmanian devil's been in and just sort of whirled around and knocked everything on the floor. Because, as I told you, see, I turned out my loft. My family is startled, as I said. And I've just finished yesterday turning out the junk room. Yes, it's been stressful. So that's my disgusting habit. I'm very, very untidy.
Ouch. So what is the most embarrassing thing you've done up until today thought you'd gotten away with?
Oh, Charlie, I've done so many embarrassing things. I wouldn't know where to start. And my problem, this is one of my problems, I don't get away with anything. I cannot get away with anything. If I'm coming through customs as an airport and they're going to open one person's suitcase and search it all, guess who it's going to be? Me. If there's a row of cars parked illegally and only one of them gets a ticket, me. I am one of those people. I cannot get away with anything. I can't play poker. I don't have a poker face. Everyone knows if I'm losing or winning. So I don't get away with any of my embarrassing things. One of the most embarrassing things I did, which was actually really funny, was I fell over on stage. I mean, listen, I've fallen over on stage a load of times, obviously, but this particular one was very funny. I had a contract on one of the cruise ships, and you do lots of different shows. It's really good for you because you end up with things you never normally sing.
Yeah.
For example, Christine in Phantom of the Opera. Charlie, me, Christine in Phantom of the Opera. I ask you. Anyway, I was loving my life because the bit that I was singing was in a key I could manage. I had very long hair at the time, so I had it all loose like this. I was like, and I had this beautiful the Christine dress with the cream and the ribbons and the long. Oh, I was loving my life. The Phantoms at the back with the mask and the cloak and the evening dress, and a band are going crazy, and the audience are like this, thinking it's one of them. We're singing All I Ask of You. I'm in dry ice, sitting on the floor, handheld microphone, a bit awkward with Christine, but anyway. All I ask of you, I'm having a lovely time with myself. And you know, sometimes you just get in your head a bit and you go, actually, I'm really good. This is always dangerous. Because the minute you think you're good, something awful, the hand will come down and go, oh. So I'm thinking this is going really well. Look at the audience. The audience are having a lovely time. I'm in a lovely frock. I look gorgeous. I go to get up to go to the Phantom, I used to faint, he used to pick me up and carry me off, audience go on. Except this night, as I went to get up, I got my heel caught in my dress. And as I went to stand up, I flipped over backwards into the dry ice with my legs in the air. Well, of course, the thing is with dry ice, you just disappear. So all the audience could see was a pair of legs. Phantom couldn't sing because he was laughing so hard. None of the band could play properly because they were laughing so hard. I struggled to my feet in a very ungainly manner. Found my microphone again because, of course, I dropped it in the dry ice. And then the Phantom picked me up and carried me off. Couldn't carry me off, had to put me down, had to walk off. So that was pretty embarrassing, but very funny. I didn't get away with it because everyone saw it.
So, who would you most like to work with, regardless of era?
Oh, that's a hard one. Oh, that's a very hard question. It's not that there's no answer to that. There's just there's lots of answers to that one. Currently, I would love to work with Judi Dench.
Mm.
I'd pay quite a lot of money to work with her. And there's a wonderful actress, I'm not actually sure whether she's still with us, Margaret Tyzack, who I've always really admired. She's got a real, she's wonderful. I would have liked to have worked with Olivier, obviously, just to see what that thing was that everybody talked about. Because, you know, sometimes when people talk about an indefinable star quality, because some people are wonderful, wonderful actors, but they're not stars. We use the word star too often now. They're the star of this and the star, oh, they're a star of the West End. Yeah, they are. They're a leading lady or a leading man. Mm. But for me, star quality is something that you can't put your finger on. You can't say why. So, and everybody said he had this thing that was so extraordinary. So I would have liked to work with him just to see what it.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have worked with Gene Kelly. I would have liked to have done. A bit tall, but I would have loved to have danced with him just once. Yeah,
that would have been cool. So, what has been your worst ever audition?
Oh, there are many, many to choose from. The one that sticks in my mind, it still makes me go hot and cold when I think about it, was for Cats. And I went in and I'd been very ill. I'd had some terrible virus and completely lost my voice, but I got my voice back. And I was convinced that I had enough technique to sing through it. I should have just cancelled the audition and gone to a later one. But you know what it's like. You think you know best. That's what I tell myself. Don't go to that audition. So Cats used to be at the New London, or Gillian as it's called now. And I went in and Chrissy Cartwright and all the people from Cats were there. And I'd chosen a song from a musical that a friend of mine wrote called Dearly Beloved, called Until I Die. And it was quite emotional and it was quite a little bit memory-ish. And I thought this is going to be the perfect song. So I went in, they were all sitting there. And they said, well, hello. And I said, hello. What are you going to sing? I said, I'm going to sing Until I Die. Well, obviously I'm not, otherwise we'd all be here a really long time. Trying to be funny. Everyone just sat there and went. So that wasn't a good start. And then, Charlie, I don't mind telling you, I sang so badly that even I was horrified at my own. It was so bad that the minute I finished, I said, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have come today. I won't even trouble you, because when I was singing, I could see, they got my CVs in front of them and they were like that. And I could see them all doing that. She's done an awful lot. I don't know how she got in here today, singing like a frog in a bucket. I swear to you, I've never sung so badly in my life. Came out, burst into tears, went and phoned my mum. Oh, it was awful. And it still makes me go hot and cold when I think of how terrible I was. Seriously terrible.
No. Oh, no.
Needless to say, very cool. You know.
So now's for a round of quickfire questions.
Okay, right, I'm ready.
Who would you go and eavesdrop on if you were invisible?
If I was invisible? Or anybody in the world?
Yep, anywhere.
Ooh.
Ever.
The Queen.
Okay, awesome. Favourite city?
I love London, New York.
Childhood book?
Childhood book, What Katie Did, all the What Katie Did series.
Haribo or chocolate?
Chocolate. Oh no, Haribo. No, chocolate. Both. Haribo covered, chocolate covered Haribo. Yeah. Oh no, that's awful. That's terrible.
I've had someone say that before when I've asked them. I've had someone say that before, and they were like, oh yeah, Haribo covered chocolate. Ew, that sounds disgusting.
Disgusting. Yeah, no, not that. Definitely chocolate, I think.
Okay. Last song downloaded.
Last song downloaded. Kelly Clarkson, I Dare You to Love.
Awesome. Favorite place to eat?
Oh, anywhere that'll have me. Favorite place to eat? Oh, I don't know. I genuinely don't know the answer to that, because I have so many different things that I like eating that it just varies on depending on what I feel like.
Heels or flats?
Oh, again, depends on what you're doing. Every day, flats, because I'm 5'10" to start with, but I rock a heel.
Yeah. Favorite place to holiday?
Again, depends on what kind of holiday you want. Your city holiday, it's got to be New York or Barcelona. I lived in Barcelona for 6 months. Or Hong Kong. I like Hong Kong. Singapore, I like Singapore too. Holiday, as in laying on a beach. I like Tenerife, or there's an island off Tenerife called La Gomera, which I love. Or the Caribbean. I
have two places that I really want to go. Because one of these places I just really want to go in general, and also I could combine the beach and the city with this place. LA. Yeah,
and I've never been to LA.
I really want to go to LA.
I want to go to Vegas too.
Oh, I'm not sure about Vegas.
I'd like to go down. I'd like Grand Canyon.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool to walk over the glass on the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. And the other place would probably be Japan, because, well, it's Japan.
It's wonderful.
Like Tokyo.
You got to go. I went to Tokyo and I've been to Kyoto. Beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah, Japan, just because it's Japan, basically.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much for doing this, Kim. It was a pleasure and an honour interviewing you.
An absolute pleasure. I've had a lovely time.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Bye. Oh, what another amazing interview. All right, so if you want more interviews like that, make sure to like, subscribe, ding, ding, and turn on those notifications. Ding, ding, ding. All right, so remember, keep being kind to yourself and others, and keep letting your light shine. Bye.